I was bereft of any, you just don't know what to say anymore. You just know what to, so I tried not to talk about it very much at all, but just to friends.
Mr. Depp, when did you and Miss Heard divorce?
When was the divorce final?
Yes.
The divorce was final January 2017 on Friday the 13th.
And how were your divorce proceedings resolved ultimately?
My team of lawyers, which included two of my entertainment lawyers, a divorce attorney, and two more attorneys that were on, Blair Burke and someone else. I wanted to, for lack of a better word, I wanted to fight it. I wanted to fight it because it was there, because there wasn't an ounce, not a grain, not a molecule of truth to it. So I wanted to fight it.
False for hearsay, Your Honor.
All right.
He was speaking about what he wanted to do in the context of the divorce.
I understand. I think the next one was going to be they said, I don't know, something like that. So
Okay,
you can go to your next question.
sure, certainly. Did you pay Ms. Heard any money in connection with your divorce?
Yes.
And how much was that?
Her settlement, she wanted $7 million. I believe that was the settlement, wasn't it? Yes, $7 million.
And was there a joint statement that you and Ms. Heard released?
Yes, that's where I was getting. The advice that I was given was not to fight.
Objection, Your Honor. Hearsay.
All right. I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Who wrote the joint statement?
I have no idea. Lawyers.
Did you approve the joint statement before it was issued?
I'll put it this way, I wasn't given much of a choice.
Could we please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 408? And Mr. Depp, do you see the second paragraph from the bottom of this page? Is that the joint statement that you and Ms. Heard released together?
That's the joint statement that was released, yes.
And could you please read that joint statement for the jury?
Our relationship was intensely passionate and at times volatile, but always bound by love. Neither party has made false accusations for financial gain. There was never any intent of physical or emotional harm. Amber wishes the best for Johnny in the future. Amber will be donating financial proceeds from the divorce to a charity.
What happened after this joint statement was issued, Mr. Depp?
What happened after that? I suppose, you know, the next move was to start making payments to Ms. Hurd. There were scheduled payments, and then at a certain point, Ms. Hurd had made statements to the press saying that the $7 million was going to be, $7 million was the settlement, and that $7 million was going to be split up between two charities. One was the ACLU, and the other was the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, which in fact was a breach of the agreement. Neither one of us were supposed to speak about details, money, anything of that nature. So when Ms. Hurd breached that agreement, that was when I asked Ed White, my business manager, to send the first payments directly to the charities in Ms. Hurd's name. And after I did that, Ms. Hurd was very, very angry that I had made those first payments, and she went into a kind of a tirade about how I should be charged double the 7. I should be charged $14 million, so that because she thought that I was looking for a tax break.
Mr. Depp, between the time that the joint statement was released and the time that the op-ed came out, how many movies did you work on in that time period, if you can recall?
When did the joint statement come out? Was it, I'm sorry.
Could we scroll up, please? I'll withdraw the question for the moment. In the time leading from the divorce through the, in the time period between when your divorce was finalized and the release of the op-ed in December 2018, do you have an estimate as to how many television or movie projects you worked on?
I don't exactly. I believe there was another, maybe a smaller tour with the vampires, and I can't. I don't remember. It's hard to remember. I've done too many movies.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Your Honor, I apologize. Can we please move into evidence exhibit 408?
All right, any objection to 408?
Yes, Your Honor, I think we don't have any objection to the joint statement that was read, but the rest of the article contains hearsay statements that we need to be redacted.
We can redact that and put it in tomorrow.
So you owe me a redacted 408 with just a statement then? Is that what you're talking about?
Just that second to last
Okay.
paragraph.
All right. That statement will be in evidence once we get it redacted. Okay.
All right, thank you. If we could please pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. Mr. Depp, do you recognize this document?
Excuse me. Yes, I do.
And what is it?
This is Ms. Hurd's op-ed for the Washington Post that I believe came out in December of 18. I recognize, yes, I certainly remember this.
And have you actually read this op-ed?
Yes, I have.
And what do you think of it, its contents?
Well, it was a hell of a start, I'd say, in terms of the title. If you could, can we scroll down a little bit, just for a second? Because I'd like to make a point. Reading it and reading the words that she had written about what was obviously it was obviously referring to our relationship. It was obviously referring to me 2 years ago. You know, it all matched up, and so it was clearly about me. And then I read the rest of the article where she talks about, if you could go down, scroll down just a little bit. After the imagine a powerful man as a ship thing. Because she goes into, she talks about, in this section of the piece, she talks about the plight of women, not just in Hollywood, but in general in the world, and there were many things that I did not disagree with in terms of this part of the article. I understand anyone's passion to right the wrongs that have been done for countless years against any being who's suffered at the hands of domestic violence, be it women, men, children. That's something, of course, coming from my background, that I am very, very against any bullying of any human being, any forced violence, any injustice committed against any human being. So all this part of the article was strangely, I understood it very well, and I can applaud some of this. I can absolutely say that I believe that it was very well done with regard to violence against women or violence against anyone. It just seemed kind of a strange other side, like a two-headed coin.
Mr. Depp, did you experience any consequences after the release of the op-ed?
Absolutely.
And what were
Yes.
those?
Oh, well, I believe it was, I don't think it took Disney very long, maybe a couple of days, to announce that that I had been removed from the Pirates of the Caribbean films franchise, which I learned about reading in reading one of these type of, some magazine, or the article, where Sean Bailey was quoted, which was very odd to me, as I have had many creative conversations with the Disney people, even to the point of where they were asking me to come back and write
Objection, Your Honor.
Pirates. Sorry.
What Disney executives told him is hearsay.
We can move on.
You
Your
want
Honor.
to, if you want to just restart.
So, I see. So I can read it out of someone's article, but not from the man's mouth. Is that what happens?
Next question.
Mr. Depp, what to your understanding is the status of Pirates 6?
At this point,
Yes.
I believe it's in dangle mode.
Mr. Depp, have you ever physically assaulted Miss Heard?
Never.
Have you ever sexually assaulted Miss Heard?
Never. Certainly not.
What have you lost as a result of Miss Heard making these allegations against you?
Nothing less than everything. Nothing less than everything. Because when the allegations were made, when the allegations were rapidly circling the globe, telling people that I was a drunken, cocaine-fueled menace who beat women suddenly in my 50s. It's over. You know, you're done. So, what did it do to me? What effect did it have on me? I'll put it to you this way. No matter the outcome of this trial, the second the allegations were made against me, the accusations, the second that more and more of these things, as I said, metastasized and turned into fodder for the media. Once that happens, or once that happened, I lost then. That is to say, I lost because that is not a thing that anyone is gonna just put on your back for a short period of time. I will live with that for the rest of my life because of the allegations and because it was such a high-profile case. So I lost then, no matter the outcome of this trial. I'll carry that for the rest of my days. And it never had to be that way. It never had to happen. And I don't quite understand why it did in the way that it did.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.